The boy who never asked. The sun beat down hard on the corner where Sarah set up her little food shop every morning. Her worn apron was stained with old grease marks she couldn't quite scrub out. Sweat rolled down her temples as she stirred the big dented pot of beans, the same pot she'd been using for 3 years. Cars crawled past, honking at each other. A motorcycle swerved too close, making her jump. People rushed by without looking at her. Just another Tuesday. Then her eyes caught something across the street. A little boy sat on the dusty curb. 6 years old, maybe. Hard to tell, he was so thin. His t-shirt hung off his shoulders like a tent, faded and torn at the neck. His shorts were held up with a piece of rope. One shoe was missing its sole completely. But what made Sarah's hands stop stirring wasn't his clothes. It was the way he sat there. So still. Not running around like kids do. Not playing. Just sitting. Staring at the people eating at her shop with eyes that looked too old for his face. His stomach growled so loud that Sarah heard it over the traffic noise. The boy flinched and wrapped his skinny arms around his belly, like he was trying to quiet it down. Like he was embarrassed. Sarah's chest squeezed tight. "Hey, sweetheart," she called out, waving him over. The boy's head snapped up. Fear flashed across his face. Real fear, the kind that comes from being yelled at too many times. He started to stand, like he was ready to run. "No, no, don't go." Sarah's voice softened. "Are you hungry?" The boy froze. He looked at her, then at the food, then back at her. He nodded once, barely. Sarah grabbed one of her chipped plastic plates and piled it high with rice, beans, and a piece of fried plantain. She walked across the dusty road, dodging a bicycle, and held it out to him. "Here, baby. Eat." The boy stared at the plate like she was handing him gold bars. His lips trembled. I don't have any money." His voice was so quiet Sarah almost didn't hear it. "Did I ask you for money?" She smiled and pushed the plate closer. "Go on. Eat before it gets cold." His small hands shook as he took the plate. For a second, Sarah thought he might cry. Instead, he looked up at her with those big, sad eyes and whispered, "Thank you." Then he ate. Not fast and messy like most hungry kids would. Slow. Careful. Like each bite was precious and he wanted to remember what it tasted like. He chewed thoroughly, savoring every single grain of rice. When the plate was empty, he didn't just leave it there. He stood up, walked back to Sarah's shop, and placed it carefully in the wash basin. Then he rinsed it clean with his own hands. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Sarah asked, touched by his manners. "Jude." "That's a nice name." "I'm Sarah." She wiped her hands on her apron. "Listen, Jude, if you get hungry tomorrow, you come back here, okay? I'll make sure you eat." Jude's eyes went round as coins. His mouth opened, then closed. Then he nodded hard, turned, and ran down the street so fast his broken shoe flapped against the ground. Sarah went back to her cooking, but her mind stayed on that little boy. Something about him felt different. Familiar, almost. Like looking in a mirror at her younger self, the girl who'd once been hungry and alone until a stranger showed her kindness. She made a promise to herself right then, as long as she had food to sell, Jude wouldn't go hungry. The next morning, Sarah arrived at her usual spot before sunrise to start cooking. She was mixing batter when she noticed someone already sitting across the street. Jude. He must have been waiting for a while because dew still clung to his clothes. Sarah's throat tightened. How early had this child woken up? Where did he sleep? She didn't say anything. She just cooked faster, and when the first batch of bean cakes was ready, she called him over with a warm smile. "Good morning, Jude. Come get your breakfast." He walked over slowly, like he still couldn't believe this was real. Sarah handed him a plate piled with bean cakes and bread. But this time, Jude didn't start eating. He looked at the food, then up at Sarah, and asked in that tiny voice, "Miss Sarah, can I have 2 plates?" Sarah blinked. 2. "Are you that hungry, baby?" Jude shook his head quickly. "No, ma'am. 1 is for my mama. She's sick. She can't come here herself." Sarah's heart cracked right down the middle. She crouched down to his level. "Your mama is sick? What's wrong with her?" I don't know the name. But her body swells up. Her face gets puffy and she can't breathe good sometimes. She sleeps a lot. And she can't walk far without falling down. Dear God. That sounded serious. Where do you two live, Jude? He pointed with one thin finger down the road. In the building that nobody finished. The one with no doors. Sarah knew exactly which building he meant. That concrete shell that had been abandoned years ago when the builder ran out of money. People used it as a toilet sometimes. Rats lived there. And this child and his sick mother were sleeping there. Your mama is there right now? Jude nodded. I left early so she wouldn't worry. But she didn't eat yesterday. I need to bring her food. Sarah stood up quickly, blinking back tears. She packed 2 huge plates, more food than Jude had asked for. She added extra meat, extra vegetables, everything she could fit. Here. You make sure your mama eats all of this, you hear me? Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Sarah. Jude carefully balanced both plates and started walking away, taking slow, deliberate steps so he wouldn't spill anything. Sarah watched him go, her vision blurring. That little boy, 6 years old, was taking care of his dying mother all by himself. Every single day after that, Jude came. Rain or shine. Sometimes he arrived so early the street lamps were still on. Sometimes he came with mud caked on his legs from walking. Through puddles. But he always came. And Sarah always fed him. Over the weeks, she learned pieces of his story. His mama's name was Emily. They had no family, no aunts, uncles, grandparents, nobody. Jude hadn't been to school in over a year. What about your papa? Sarah asked one afternoon while Jude helped her wash dishes. Jude's hands stopped moving. His face went dark, closed off. Mama says he left before I was born. He didn't want me. The way he said it, so matter-of-fact, like he'd accepted it as truth, broke Sarah's heart all over again. I'm sorry, baby. Jude shrugged, but his eyes looked shiny. It's okay. Mama says some people aren't built for staying. But she stayed. She'll always stay. Unless she dies, Sarah thought but didn't say out loud. After 2 weeks of feeding Jude and sending food for Emily, Sarah made a decision. She had to see this woman. Had to know just how bad things were. Jude, tomorrow I'm closing up early. I'm coming with you to meet your mama. Jude's face scrunched up with worry. She doesn't look like other mamas anymore. The sickness changed her. I don't want you to be scared. Sarah knelt down and took his small face in her hands. Listen to me. I don't care what she looks like. I only care that she's sick and you two are alone. Okay. Jude searched her eyes, then nodded slowly. The next day, Sarah packed up her entire pot of soup, a bag of rice, some fruit, and a blanket she'd bought from her tiny savings. She locked up her shop early, losing money, but she didn't care, and followed Jude through the winding streets. They walked past piles of garbage that hadn't been collected in weeks. Past broken fences with dogs barking behind them. Past a group of men drinking under a tree who whistled at Sarah until Jude glared at them with surprising fierceness. Finally, they reached the abandoned building. Sarah's stomach dropped. It was worse than she'd imagined. Just 4 concrete walls and a partial roof that leaked. No windows. No doors. The floor was bare concrete covered in dust and dirt. In one corner, someone had tried to make a room by hanging an old tarp. Behind that tarp, on a thin mat that was more holes than fabric, lay a woman. Emily. Sarah had to bite her lip to keep from gasping. Emily was skeletal. Her cheekbones jutted out sharply. Her arms looked like sticks wrapped in loose skin. Her face was swollen and puffy, especially around her eyes. Her lips were cracked and bleeding. She lay on her side, curled up, breathing in short, painful gasps. When she heard footsteps, Emily tried to sit up. She couldn't. She managed to lift her head a little, and when she saw Sarah, confusion crossed her face. "Mama, this is Miss Sarah," Jude said softly, rushing to her side. "She's the lady who gives us food every day." Emily's eyes, still beautiful despite everything, filled with tears instantly. You're Sarah." "Yes, ma'am." Sarah knelt down on the dirty floor, not caring about her dress. I wanted to meet you. Why? Emily's voice was hoarse, barely above a whisper. Why would you? Why would someone like you care about people like us? Because you matter. You and Jude both matter. Emily let out a sob, a broken, hopeless sound. I'm dying. I know I am. And when I die, Jude will be alone, and I can't stop it. I can't save him. Tears streamed down her face, and she didn't have the strength to wipe them away. Jude grabbed his mama's hand. Don't talk like that, Mama. You're not going to die. But even as he said it, his voice shook. Sarah looked around the horrible place they called home. At the bucket in the corner they used for water. At the single pot Jude probably cooked in over a small fire. At the complete absence of anything resembling comfort or safety. Something fierce rose up in Sarah's chest. Determination. Anger at the world for allowing this. And love, unexpected, overwhelming love for this broken little family. Emily, how long have you been sick? 2 years, maybe. It started slow. Back pain, tiredness, then swelling. Then I couldn't work anymore. We lost our room 6 months ago when I couldn't pay rent. Had nowhere else to go. Have you seen a doctor? Emily laughed, a bitter, awful sound. Doctors cost money. Look at me. Do I look like I have money? She had a point. What do the symptoms feel like? My back hurts all the time. I can't breathe right. My face swells up. I can't eat much or I vomit. Some days I can't even stand up. Emily's voice cracked. I'm useless. I can't take care of my son. What kind of mother can't even feed her own child? A mother who's sick, Sarah said firmly. That doesn't make you useless. That makes you human. Emily looked at her with such desperate hope it hurt to see. I can't pay you, Emily whispered. I have nothing to give you. I'm not asking for payment. Sarah reached out and took Emily's cold, bony hand. I'm going to help you. I don't know how yet, and I don't have much money myself. But I promise you, you and Jude won't face this alone anymore. Why? Emily asked again, like she couldn't comprehend kindness. Why would you do this for strangers? Sarah thought about her own past. About the woman who'd given her a job when she had nothing. About the neighbor who'd let her sleep on their floor when she was homeless. About all the small acts of kindness that had kept her alive. Because someone helped me once, Sarah said simply. And because Jude has the purest heart I've ever seen. A boy like that deserves a fighting chance. And so do you. Emily squeezed Sarah's hand with what little strength she had. A single tear rolled down her swollen face. From that day forward, Sarah came every evening after work. She brought food, medicine when she could afford it, clean water, blankets. She cleaned Emily's wounds when they appeared. She talked to her, kept her company, reminded her she wasn't alone. And Jude, sweet, serious Jude, spent his mornings at Sarah's shop. He washed every dish until it sparkled. He greeted customers with a shy smile that grew bigger each day. He swept the area clean and organized supplies without being asked. Sarah paid him in food and small coins when she could. But more than that, she gave him what he needed most, hope. Life got a tiny bit easier. Not easy, never easy, but survivable. Except Emily kept getting worse. The swelling spread. The pain intensified. There were days she couldn't speak because she was too weak. Sarah knew deep in her bones, food and blankets weren't going to save Emily. She needed a miracle. And Sarah had no idea where to find one. But miracles have a funny way of showing up exactly when you stop looking for them. And this one was about to arrive in 4 black SUVs with tinted windows. If you're curious to find out what happened next, we warmly invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll be notified the moment the next episode drops. Thank you very much for watching.